Hello everyone and welcome to Bell Explains. In this video, I will be explaining Chapter 6.3 Simultaneous Linear Equations in Two Variables. Let's get to it. Self-Practice 6.3a. Form simultaneous linear equations for each given daily situation. Hence, represent graphically the simultaneous linear equations in two variables. Puan Siti intends to reward her students with 6 Malay dictionaries and English dictionaries. The prices of a Malay dictionary and an English dictionary are 20 and 40 ringgit respectively. Puan Siti buys X Malay dictionaries and Y English dictionaries at a total cost of 160 ringgit. So here we have the sum of Malay dictionaries and English dictionaries equals to 6. And then we have 20 times of Malay dictionaries and 40 times of English dictionaries equals to 160 ringgit. Let's label that with equation 1 and equation 2. In order to plot a graph, let's first find the values of y if x equals to 0. So for the first equation, if x equals to 0, we get y at 6. If y equals to 0, we get x at 6. Let's draw that line out. And next for equation 2, if x equals to 0, let's sub that in and we get the value of y. And y equals to 4. If y equals to 0, let's sub that in and we get the value of x. So x equals to 8. Now we can draw that line. Follow the table to plot out the points. When x equals to 0, y equals to 4. And when y equals to 0, x is 8. Now we can draw that line as well. A total of 12 students comprising boys and girls are divided equally into two groups. The number of boys in each group is 2 more than the number of girls. So let's represent boys with x and girls with y. Since there are two groups, we have x plus y equals to 6. And we have 2 of this, right? So summing this up gives us 2x plus 2y equals to 12. And from the second sentence, we get that boys minus girls equals to 2. So let's solve this using the same method as just now to plot the lines. Moving on to Self-Practice 6.3b. Solve the following simultaneous linear equations. For A, we have two equations here. Let's sub equation 1 into equation 2. That gives us x plus 2 bracket 3x plus 1 equals to 16. Let's expand the bracket to find the value of x first. So here we get the value of x at 2. Now that we have the value of x, we can sub that into equation 1 to find the value of y. And this gives us the value of y at 7. Let's do the same thing here. From equation 1, let's move the y to the other side. We get a third equation whereby x equals to 5 minus y. Let's sub that into equation 2. We have 2 bracket 5 minus y close bracket minus y equals to 22. Let's solve that. This should give us the value of y. Now that we have the value of y, let's find the value of x by subbing that into equation 1. And that gives us x at 9. From equation 2, we can derive a third equation whereby x equals to 2 plus 3y. Let's sub that into equation 1. We get 4, and in a bracket 2 plus 3y plus 3y equals to 8. Expanding and solving this gives us the value of y at 0. If y equals to 0, we can sub that into equation 3 to find the value of x. So here we get x at 2. And lastly for d, from equation 1 we can derive x equals to negative 4 minus 3y over 8. Let's sub equation 3 into equation 2. We have 5 and in a bracket negative 4 minus 3y over 8 plus 2y equals to 6. Expanding and solving this gives us the value of y. Here we have the value of y at 68. Now that we have the value of y, let's sub that into equation 3 to find the value of x. So let's solve this. We get the value of y at negative 26. Moving on to self-practice 6.3c. During Hari Keusahawanan in a school, 800 booklets of coupons were sold. The price of each booklet of coupons was Rm30 and Rm50 respectively. So first let's represent Rm30 with x and Rm50 with y. So x and y are actually the quantity of the respective coupons. Here we have the sum of x and y is 800. The total amount collected was 30,000. How many booklets of Rm30 and Rm50 coupons were sold? So 30x plus 50y gives us 30,000. From equation 1, we can derive that x equals to 800 minus y. So let's sub that into equation 2 to find the value of y. Expanding and solving this equation gives us the value of y at 300. Now that we know the value of y, let's sub and we can find the value of x at 500. So here we know that 500 pieces of 30 coupons and 300 pieces of Rm50 coupons were sold. The length of a rectangular swimming pool is p meters and its width is q meters. Let's draw that out. Here we have p for length and q for width. It is given that the length of the swimming pool is twice its width, which means that p equals to 2q. If the perimeter of the swimming pool is 150 meters, find the values of P and Q. So to find the perimeter, let's add all the sides. We have perimeter equals to P plus Q plus P plus Q. And that gives us 150 equals to 2P plus 2Q. So since we know that P equals to 2Q, let's sub that in. We have 2Q plus Q plus 2Q plus Q. So solving this gives us the value of Q at 25 meters. And now that we know the value of Q, we can find the value of P. So P equals to 50. Finally, Mastery Q 6.3. Form simultaneous linear equations based on the following statement. The difference between two numbers is 5. When the larger number is multiplied by 2, the sum of both the numbers is 7. Hence, represent graphically the simultaneous linear equations in two variables and state the type of the solution. From the first statement, we know that x minus y gives us 5. From the second statement, we get 2x plus y equals to 7. Let's put that in the table like before to find the values. We'll start with equation 1. If x equals to 0, let's sub that in to find the value of y. We get the value of y at negative 5. Next, if y equals to 0, we can sub that in to find the value of x at 5. For equation 2, we'll do the same thing. If x equals to 0, let's sub that in to find the value of y. We get the value of y at 7. And if y equals to 0, let's sub that into the equation and we get the value of x at 3.5. So now we can plot the points on the graph. For equation 1, when x equals to 0, y equals to negative 5. And when y equals to 0, x equals to 5. Let's connect that with a line. For equation 2, when x equals to 0, y equals to 7. And when y equals to 0, x equals to 3.5. Connect it with a line. So this is the graphical representation of the simultaneous equation. Next, for number 2, solve the following simultaneous linear equations. Follow my working, guys. I will not be explaining it since we have already used the similar method previously. A wire with a length of 100 centimeters is cut into 3 parts. The length of wire for the first and second parts are the same. The length of the third part of the wire exceeds the sum of the first 2 parts by 4 centimeters. Calculate the length of each part. Okay, since the first 2 parts are the same, let's represent that with 2x. The difference between the third part and the first 2 parts is 4 cm. So we have y minus 2x equals to 4. And the sum will give us 100. So we have the second equation here. From equation 1, we know that y equals to 4 plus 2x. So now we can sub that into equation 2 to find the value of x. Let's solve that to find the values of the respective parts. Lai Yi and Khadija have 60 stamps. Alright, so here we have L plus K is 60, which is equation 1. When Lai Yi gives 5 stamps to Khadija, the number of Lai Yi stamps is twice the number of Khadija's stamps. So if Lai Yi were to give 5 stamps to Khadija, we have L minus 5 equals to 2 times of K plus 5. And this is equation 2. Alright, how many stamps does each of them have at first? Now we can solve it to find the number of stamps that both of them have. Next, after 6 years, the age of Devaki's father is thrice the age of Devaki. Okay, since it is in 6 years' time, we have to add both of their ages by 6. Here we have father plus 6 equals to 3 times of Devaki plus 6. And this will be equation 1. If the age of Devaki's father was 7 times the age of Devaki 2 years ago, so since it is 2 years ago, let's subtract 2 from both of their ages. Here we have father minus 2 equals to 7 times of Devaki minus 2. And this will be equation 2. What are their ages this year? Okay, so now that we have 2 equations, let's solve that to find their ages. Lastly, Sarah has more money than Hui Chin. If Sarah gives RM10 to Hui Chin, both of them will have the same amount of money. So let's represent Sarah with X and Hui Chin with Y. Here we have X minus 10 equals to Y plus 10. Alright, if Hui Chin gives RM5 to Sarah, Sarah will have 4 times the amount of money that Hui Chin has. So we have X plus 5 equals to 4 times of Y minus 5. How much do each of them have? Okay, so since we already have 2 equations here, once again, let's solve them simultaneously to find the amount of money they both have. That's all, guys. Thanks for watching Belle Explains. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Bye!